2024, a new year, new opportunities, new challenges, and all that in a crazy world. What to expect and how to deal with it, that's probably the most important thing. How to navigate 2024. Like, subscribe, and share. In this video, and yes, I'm recording this after having finished the whole video, so that's why I can say it now. In this video, I will be sharing with you what to expect, and for some people it may sound scary, but if you listen to me throughout the whole video, you will see that actually being prepared makes it useless to be scared, because you actually know what's coming and you know what to do, and then you can just navigate the waves. And you know, when you see the movies where they show Hawaii, these big waves, but people are riding the waves, and that's amazing. And that's what's possible for you too. So just be open. And in this video, I'm very honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat things, but I want to show you the beauty of where this is going to lead you this year, where your experiences, easy and tough, can help you grow and thrive. Hi, my name is Latvian. For those who don't know me, since 2012 I have been expanding my intuition capabilities, and I've been learning a lot of different techniques, sciences, however you want to call them. And I'm an intuitive, and I combine everything that I've learned in what I do. So when I work with someone, in the moment I will feel what is needed. And then I use this tool and that tool. And from time to time I do an energy update. And you could consider this one to be, some people call them predictions. Well, I leave you to judge that if you feel the need to do so. But what I want to do today is to share what I feel intuitively and from my personal experience you need to know about 2024. Things that may come on your path, things that may happen around you, and what from my perspective is the easiest and maybe even the smartest way of dealing with these things, so that 2024 will not be as difficult as one of the previous years. For many people, 2020, 2021, 2022, and even 2023 have been very difficult, or at least one of those years has been very difficult. And there's a lot that we have been able to learn from these years. And so I thought, let's use this in combination with what I feel is coming to make a video about 2024. So let's dive into this. What we will see in the coming year is a continuation of what started slowly years ago, but was already there for decades, but most people didn't see it. Maybe you felt certain things, but you never really knew what it was. And when you would talk about it, people would say, would dismiss what you were saying, or say you're crazy or whatever, or call you a conspiracy theorist. But the interesting thing is that gradually we have seen lies being exposed. We have seen truth coming to the surface. And when I say gradually, it started with a little thing here, a little thing there. And then the mass media was ignoring it. But nowadays, we see even the mass media talking about big lies, conspiracies coming to surface. What does this mean for you? You may ask. Well, even if you choose not to listen or watch the news, you will still get information. You will still see things on social media. And don't tell me you're not on social media, otherwise you would not be seeing this video. And you may see and feel around you a lot of polarity. People disagreeing with each other. When I say disagreeing, it's saying that in a neutral way. But it could be like discussions, heated discussions, fights, or even wars. What's important to know here is that every major change causes friction. Friction of or from those who do not want to change, put their heels in the sand, where the train is still running. So your location in space and time is changing. So some people really want to stay in the past, some even in a distant past. You see that, for example, with people who try to hold on to a culture that basically doesn't exist anymore. You see that with people who want to hold on to traditions, religious traditions from the past. But we do not live in the year 0 or in the year 500 or even in the year 1800 or in the 1980s, 70s, 60s, 90s, doesn't matter. We're not there anymore. It's 2023, almost 2024. Things are changing, whether we like it or not. There's a lot of artificial intelligence that is showing up now. Free tools that can be very useful. And like everything that has been invented by humans can be used for good and bad. And like I said, a lot of lies are coming to the surface. Why is this happening, you may ask? What does this have to do with anything, with what you just talked about? You can believe in reality as a spiritual journey. You can believe or look at reality purely scientifically. And for the last one, if you look at things scientifically, we with our solar system have entered a new part in space with a higher vibration. Our sun is also nearing a peak in its activity, in its cyclical activity. Combining that with the new zone in space where we are, everything is intensifying. People say, the sun has a cycle of 11 years. Some people say, actually it's 22. But that's just the sun. But then there's this location of the solar system within space. Our whole galaxy is moving. But even if you would forget about the galaxy moving through space, the galaxy is also rotating. So the solar system itself is going around. And so on top of the 11 or the 22 years, there's also a bigger cycle. 11,000, 12,000 years, but also a 22,000 year cycle. And for those who love numerology, 11, 22, master numbers, there's a reason for that, because they keep coming back. So scientifically, there's more electromagnetic energy being discharged by the sun and hitting us. This in combination with the general frequency in space already being higher. And as we are electrical beings, our nervous system is electrical, our cells are working with electrical fields as well, and electromagnetic fields. We are being affected by this. And if you look at every 11-year cycle of the sun, you see that there is more aggression in the world at the peak of the solar activity. So with everything being more, we see now more of that as well, more than the past, 11 years ago, 22 years ago, 33 years ago. But you will see there were big events then. There were major wars starting. 22 years ago, hey, it was 9/11, which was not a small thing. Aside from 3,000 people dying that day, which is not so much because there are many more people dying every day through war, but what it meant and what it resulted into, with abuse of power, with less freedoms for humanity in general. So a lot has been happening there. And that's just one example. So we're reaching slowly that peak, 2025, if I'm correct. So the intensity is rising. So now about the explosion of the truth. Higher frequency energetically means a different vibration. It means more enlightenment, which means more wisdom, which means less darkness. Does it make sense to you? But when the light is being is shining on darkness, on lies, on things like that, there's eruption of aggression. They say a lie does not like to be questioned, but the truth doesn't mind to be questioned or criticized or contradicted. You will see more of this happening in the world. But within us, all of this is also happening. We are also cleaning out our shit. We have been. For many people, it started around 2012. Some people earlier, some people later. It doesn't matter when it started for you. Some people refused to do it. So stuff started to come to the surface and they decided to just push it away. Through work, through alcohol, or other kinds of addictions. Even sports can be an addiction. People get addicted to the endorphins that are made up, created in your body to stop feeling the pain. So you will see two main groups in society. Yes, there will be more division before unification. Those who have already been working on themselves will experience life a little bit easier because they're already used to working on themselves, dealing with their darkness, dealing with their pain that's coming up, with the trauma, with whatever it is that's coming up. They're used to dealing with it, not to run away from it. Even if they did it partially, they already know that if I deal with certain things, they will be resolved. And what I don't deal with will catch up with me eventually. And as the frequency is higher, everything is going faster. And you see that change is happening faster, things are moving faster. So also the stuff you're running away from is catching up with you much faster. And those who have refused to work on themselves will experience that they will get as much as those who have been working themselves on their plate. But they will also get all the stuff they refused to deal with in the past decade or two will also catch up with them. So where you and I, probably you have been working on yourself already, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video, you and I will have a plate that is like this to deal with. They will have a plate of this with all of that from the past 10 years that they did nothing. And of course there are people who are somewhere in between, but the less you've done in the past, the more you will have to deal with now. So you will see a lot of people, and this is already happening for at least a year or two, who are experiencing all kinds of crises. Mental, emotional, physical, breaking up with friends, their families, a lot. The lockdowns from 2 years ago amplified this. They didn't make it worse, they just made people not having much choice but to confront their demons and to deal with that shit. What we will see now is that we need to keep doing the work. And more people are waking up. If you have heard about people waking up, more and more people are waking up. Basically, more and more people start to work on themselves, become more conscious, realize they cannot keep running away. And you watching this video means you are one of those who have started to wake up. And waking up is not like from one day to another, suddenly you completely awaken and everything is there. No. It means you start to notice more and more what you need to deal with. Some people try to do everything by themselves, which I basically call stupid. But the smart ones ask for help. I do help people, but I also have people who help me, which is very normal. A good coach, a good whatever you are as a professional, is always learning from others. People have more experience, people have different experiences. I still have many things to deal with. I know this. Things keep coming on my path, and if you have dealt with things, they may come again, but then on a higher level. So it's like a upgoing spiral, or some people see it like a spiral that goes deeper, and that is because they say, okay, I'm going to the core of myself, to who I truly am. And some other people see it as, well, I'm going up because I'm expanding my consciousness. Both are true. When you think in a 3D world, 3D dimension, then it's difficult to visualize that you're going both ways. But on the other hand, if you know chakras, you know that the root chakras connect to the earth, and the crown chakra is connected to universal consciousness. So you already have those two directions. And we're somewhere in between. And we're combining both. And that's how we expand. So maybe you want some details. I could tell you about the first month of the year, what are the general energies at play, if you're interested. So basically this is going to be energy update for January 2024. But in general, it is a January energy, because every year we have the same cycle, but then we experience in a different way. And this I base on the gene keys. For those who don't know the gene keys, it's just gene space keys. I'll put a picture on screen. I believe that will help you to understand. But the main thing is that we will experience struggle when we stay in our shadows. So we will get struggle on our paths, but if we're persevering, then things will open up for us. So it's very important that we do not go and sit down in a corner. And not just in January, but in general. If we know where we're going, even if we don't know it here, but we know here what that direction is, then keep going. Taking a pause is totally fine. I myself took a long pause recently when it comes to my own personal development, when it comes to teaching. I took a break. Does not mean that nothing happened. I did process a lot. But I have barely been reading or listening to other people's teachings. And I myself have barely been teaching others. I did have a few sessions here and there, but it was not on a regular basis. Because I needed more time to be with myself and be with my family. And for those who don't know, I recently became a father. 7 months ago, actually, which is still recent. So, which also means big changes in my life. Looking at life from a different perspective. And we all are experiencing changes, big or small, but they all affect us. They all push us to adapt, to evolve, to grow. That's the most important thing. We need to keep going. Many of us have had moments where we felt life was pointless and wanted to end it. Most people don't admit this. I went through it several times in my life. But then things happen in our lives that change our perspective. I don't think I would consider it again now that I have a responsibility for the well-being of a child. But in the same way, you may have changes in your life that will also make you not consider making certain choices anymore, making different kind of choices. It's not only about, well, do I want to keep living this life in this shitty world, or no. There are many kinds of choices. And you know exactly what your choices are. Even if you do not know what to choose, how to choose, you know you have these choices in front of you. And because we're going through a period of economical changes, some people call it recession, some people call it depression, some people call it re-evaluation or revaluation. The shadow energy will be greed. But do you want to go into that energy? Some people will experience psychosis. Do you want to go into that energy? Do you want to stay there? If it happens, because these energies come up, but do you want to stay in them? You may feel limitations. Do you want this to hold you back? You may feel, how to say, fantasies about certain things. And not the fantasies like that will keep you going forward and evolve and grow, but the kind that keeps you in the past. Do you want that? You may experience codependency. Is that really a good thing? I'm not saying you have to be fully independent, not depend on anybody. But is codependency the thing you want? Cooperation is a different thing. These are just a few examples. This is just for January. But it will not be limited to January, of course. I hope this didn't scare you. And if it did, it means you have work to do. Because if you have been doing your work, you already know that after these changes, after working on our own shadows, we grow into something better. The quality of our lives improve. Even if we experience restrictions, it's finding the freedom within those limitations and breaking free from our beliefs, old beliefs, that helps us grow and have a better life. So yeah, we will see a lot of chaos in the world. But if you look at, for example, people look at the French Revolution, it was not a fun period, but it resulted in a different society. Any people who have lived in a country that fought for independence know that there were tough times. And after that, they were independent, and then they could rebuild the country and made something better out of it. And this is also true for the whole of humanity. Things will improve, with or without you. But will they improve for you? That's the question. Well, they'll improve for you if you do your part of your work. And the more people do this, the faster the world will also improve. No need to push people to do their work, but inspire them by doing your work, by not hiding it. I used to hide what I was doing because I was ashamed, I was shy, I was afraid basically of how people would perceive me, to be judged for being different. But the day I chose not to feel this way anymore. I felt free. And the fun part is, yes, some people still laughed at me, but most people looked at me, asked me questions, got curious, and some of them also started moving forward. Some of them probably did, but I didn't see it. But then that's just planting a seed. I started a job in a company, a part-time job in a corporation, but didn't hide my spiritual journey, my beliefs, the way I look at life. And the responses were different depending on the person. But when I left, they wrote me this goodbye card. And some of the comments that were written touched me deeply and were very unexpected. People opened up. And even if I hadn't seen it, reading that card, I realized that they also had been working on themselves. Whether it was me who inspired them, or just because I was open, they shared with me that they were also doing it. It doesn't matter. But it warmed my heart. So, now for the professional way of closing this video. If you feel you need help, because you know you have to do things, but you do not know how to do everything, contact me. I'm available again. My break is over and I'm available, and we can work in a variety of ways, depending on your needs, depending on what you want. And we'll discuss that in the conversation that we'll have. Could become mentoring, could become coaching on specific subjects, could be a combination. We'll see. But the important thing is to look for inspiration, to look for guidance in those areas where you feel you need it. It's the smart people who ask for help. It's the successful people who all had people helping them. They learned from other people, and then they took that knowledge and used it in their own unique way. That's also how I teach. I share knowledge, I share my experience, and then I let my clients find their own unique way of using it, of doing the things. Whether it is a course of grounding or anything else. I wish you a beautiful year. I wish you joy and fun on your journey, no matter how rough it gets at certain points. And looking forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day. Like, subscribe, and share.